Hold up right there, sir. Hands where I can see them.
They're right here, officer. Just carrying coolant. Truck's cooking
We
itself.
got a call said you were hanging around the pumps. What's that about?
Dean, we can check it out. Hood's up, steam all
License
over.
is in my back pocket. Moving slow.
Easy, go ahead.
Here you go, Marcus
Whole
Tillery.
thing.
They shoved a tired black man against a gas pump like he was a criminal. They yelled at him, called him suspicious, and told him to keep his hands where they could see them, all because he walked in for coolant. But what those officers didn't know, what they couldn't know, is that the man they were humiliating was not just some random driver. He was someone with a past powerful enough to end their careers with one phone call. And when the truth came out, gas station number 14 would never forget what happened that night. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Now, let's get into this story. Hey, stop right there. The shout cracked through the cold night air like a whip. Marcus Tillery froze under the buzzing fluorescent lights of gas station number 14. He turned slowly, hands raised a little, confused. He had only walked 5 feet from the aisle fridge toward the counter. But Officer Dean Roper stormed through the glass doors like Marcus had just robbed the place. Roper's voice boomed again. I said don't move. Keep your hands up where I can see them. People inside the station stopped mid-sip, mid-step, mid-sentence. Every eye fell on Marcus. The black man in the worn denim jacket. The man who had said nothing. The man who only came for coolant. Carter Wynn, the teenage cashier, stiffened behind the counter. His phone slowly slid out from under the register, camera pointed forward. Roper jabbed a finger at Marcus. You think you can just creep around these pumps at night? You think we don't see you? Marcus blinked. Sir, my truck broke down. I'm just buying. Shut up. Roper's hand dropped to his holster. The store went dead silent. Marcus Tillery wasn't big or scary looking. He wasn't loud. He wasn't dressed fancy. Just a 41-year-old truck driver with tired eyes and shoulders that carried too many years of silence. His jacket was faded. His jeans were grease-stained. He always looked like he had lived 1,000 miles that day, because he usually had. Marcus rarely talked about himself. Few knew he had once stood in deserts and war zones wearing a uniform most people only saw on TV. Few knew he had medals locked away in a dusty tin box. Few knew he still had friends in places of power, people who owed him their lives. But at gas station number 14, none of that mattered. To Officer Roper, he was just a black man in the wrong place at the wrong time. Roper stomped closer, breaths heavy, boots loud. You were lurking behind pump 3, Roper barked. Customer reported you. Said you were checking cars. Probably waiting to jump someone. Marcus shook his head. Sir, I wasn't. Roper shoved him. The whole shelf of engine oil rattled. Don't lie to me. Roper snapped. Hands behind your head. Marcus stayed calm, voice low. Officer, please. My truck overheated. I walked here. That's all. Roper gave a cruel smirk. Yeah. And I'm Santa Claus. Officer Cheryl Maddox entered the station next, slower, scanning the room with unsure eyes. She was younger, tense, and clearly uneasy. Dean, she murmured, we don't even know what the call was about. Roper didn't listen. He grabbed Marcus's arm hard. ID, now. Marcus winced. It's in my wallet. In my pocket. Yeah. Roper said. Let me guess, you're gonna reach for it fast and say it was an accident? Marcus's jaw tightened. The racism wasn't loud, not yet. It was in the tone. In the smirk. In the way Roper assumed guilt first and truth later. Carter crushed his lip between his teeth as he recorded. People near the slushy machine whispered. Why's he yelling at him? He didn't do anything, just another night in Georgia. Roper leaned in, eyes cold. Tell me the real reason you're here. Marcus fought back the shake in his voice. I told you. I need coolant. Roper laughed, a short, sharp, mocking sound. Coolant? Well, sure. And I'm betting you just happen to know the owner of the car you were eyeing too, right? Marcus didn't respond. He had learned long ago. Some people don't want the truth. They want control. Roper turned to Maddox. Checking cars. Wearing dirty clothes. Wandering behind pumps. Looks guilty to me. Maddox hesitated. Dean, he hasn't done anything aggressive. People like him don't need to, Roper snapped. Marcus's stomach tightened. People like him. There it was. Roper yanked Marcus forward. Spread your feet. Don't make me say it twice. Marcus obeyed. Slow. Calm. Heartbeat loud. Carter's camera caught everything. Roper's rough grip, Marcus's stillness, the shaking soda cans on the shelf. Why you so nervous? Roper hissed. Guilty conscience? Marcus breathed in through his nose. I'm nervous, he said quietly, because you're holding a gun. Roper shoved him again. Don't get smart. Someone near the door muttered, this ain't right. Another whispered, leave him alone. But nobody stepped forward. Nobody challenged the badge. Marcus stood with his hands behind his head, humiliated, tired, afraid to move even an inch too fast. The cold bright lights above made everything feel sharp. Too sharp. Roper patted Marcus down aggressively. Where's your weapon? He barked. I don't have one. Ah, that's what they all say. Marcus swallowed. I'm not your enemy, sir. Roper snorted. You're everyone's enemy until I say otherwise. Maddox stepped in finally. Dean, look at him. He's not resisting. He's not lying. This doesn't feel right. Roper glared. You getting soft, Cheryl? You scared of correcting one of them? Marcus froze. Carter's video captured it. Maddox's face changed. The room changed. Marcus lowered his head, sadness washing over him in a heavy wave. He had lived through danger. He had survived battlefields. He had seen real enemies, real threats. But somehow, the ugliest battlefield was always home. Roper grabbed Marcus's wallet from his pocket without warning. Let's see who you really are, he growled. He flipped it open roughly. Driver's license, insurance, a folded note from Marcus's daughter, and one badge. A small, worn metal badge tucked behind the ID. Old but real. Valued. Recognized by anyone who had ever served time in uniform. Roper frowned. What's this? Marcus said nothing. But Maddox stepped closer, brows rising. Wait, is that? Before she finished, Roper set the badge aside and kept digging. He pulled out a card. A thick one. Dark blue. Gold imprint. On it was a phone number and a seal that only a handful of Americans carried. Roper's eyes narrowed. What is this crap? He snapped. Fake ID? Some wannabe soldier card. Maddox's face drained of color. Dean, don't touch that card. Why the hell not? She swallowed hard. Because that's a Homeland Security clearance card. Roper froze. For the first time, the station went silent for him. Marcus looked up. Calm. Quiet. Almost sad. He said softly. Sir, I asked you to let me explain. Roper staggered back a step. Maddox stared at Marcus wide-eyed. Who are you? And Marcus answered, voice steady. Just a truck driver. A long pause. Who used to do a different kind of job. Carter's camera zoomed in on the card, the badge, the fear growing on Roper's face. The power shift had begun. The crowd felt it. The air changed. The night shifted. Roper, suddenly pale, swallowed. This isn't real. Marcus held his gaze. It's real. Roper stepped back again. And for the first time since the officers entered the station, Roper looked afraid. Very afraid. Officer Dean Roper's face turned the color of cold chalk. That small Homeland Security clearance card in his hand felt heavier than a brick now. He held it like it was burning him. Marcus Tillery didn't move. Didn't gloat. Didn't smile. He only stood straight, shoulders squared, watching the man who had shoved him, yelled at him, accused him of crimes he didn't commit, and done it all with pride. A quiet rumble went through the gas station. Carter's phone shook as he zoomed in on Roper's stunned expression. Maddox whispered, almost breathless. Marcus Tillery? I've heard that name. Roper swallowed hard. What do you do? Who are you really? Marcus answered softly. I told you before, officer. I drive trucks. That's my life now. Maddox pressed, voice breaking. But before that? That badge, that card, that clearance. Marcus finally spoke the truth. I served this country for 20 years. I was special recon. I've been in places you've never seen. I've done things most people will never hear about. The air tightened. Now, Marcus said quietly, I'm just trying to live a quiet life. Roper stepped backward until he hit a candy display. M&M bags rattled to the ground. Why didn't you say something earlier? Roper asked, voice shaking. You didn't let me, Marcus replied. And that truth cut deeper than any blade. Maddox straightened her posture. Her hand fell away from her holster. Her voice turned sharp, not toward Marcus now but toward Roper. Dean, you need to step back. Roper snapped. No. He was behind the pumps, acting suspicious. Maddox cut him off. He was stranded and you treated him like a criminal. You didn't ask a single question. You didn't even wait for dispatch details. Roper's jaw clenched. Maddox stepped closer to Marcus, but her tone was respectful. Mr. Tillery, I'm sorry. Truly. Marcus didn't respond. Not out of anger. Out of exhaustion. Because apologies only mean something when they change things. Roper pointed at Carter. Turn that phone off. The teen flinched and held it closer to his chest. No, sir, this is proof. You can't pretend this didn't happen. A murmur grew in the store. Let the kid film. Yeah, we saw everything. He did nothing wrong. For the first time, the crowd wasn't silent. For the first time, Roper stood alone. With shaking fingers, Roper tried to hand the clearance card back to Marcus. Sir, this is all a misunderstanding. If you don't file a complaint, I can? Marcus didn't take the card. Instead, he said, put it on the counter. Roper blinked. What? Put down. Slowly, Roper set the card on the countertop. Carter filmed every second. Marcus finally picked it up, and then met Roper's panicked eyes. You should think before pulling your gun on someone who did nothing, Marcus said softly. Someone who protected this country when you were still shouting at football games in high school. People whispered. Phones recorded. Roper's face crumbled. I didn't know, he said weakly. You didn't want to know, Marcus corrected. All you saw was a black man at night. And you assumed the worst. Roper stepped forward slightly. Listen, please, if you stay quiet about this. Maddox snapped. Dean? Stop talking. But Roper was desperate. You don't understand, my career, my pension, my record, it'll all vanish if this gets out. Marcus lifted an eyebrow. You should have thought about that before throwing me around. Maddox pulled out her radio. Dispatch, this is Officer Maddox. I need a supervisor at gas station number 14 immediately. Possible misconduct. Roper's eyes widened in horror. No, Cheryl, don't you dare. Maddox stared him down. You crossed a line. And you know it. The dispatcher responded through static. Supervisor en route. 85 minutes. Roper turned even paler. His voice cracked as he looked around the store. You're all just gonna let this happen? Over a misunderstanding? He was acting weird. Someone in the back shouted. He was buying coolant. Another yelled. You shoved him for no reason. A woman near the chips added. You treat people like trash and expect us to help you? Not tonight. Roper backed up again, breathing fast. Please. I didn't mean. But the damage was done. Carter held the phone high, recording every second of Roper's downfall. The supervisor arrived moments later, a broad-shouldered man with stern eyes, Captain Harley Boone. He walked in, saw Marcus, saw Roper's trembling hands, and sighed like he already knew how bad this would be. Maddox, Boone said, report. She took a breath. Roper mishandled the situation. No protocol. No questions. Excessive force. Racial profiling. The victim is Mr. Marcus Tillery, a decorated former recon operative with federal clearance. Boone froze at the last part. Very slowly he turned to Roper. Dean, tell me she's wrong. Roper broke. I didn't know. I thought he was a criminal? Boone finished. Because he was black? Roper didn't answer. Boone shook his head in disgust. Hand me your weapon. Roper collapsed into a nearby shelf of popcorn bags. No. Captain, please. Weapon. Now. With shaking hands, Roper gave up his gun. Then his badge. Boone placed both in a plastic evidence bag without hesitation. Carter whispered. Oh my God. The whole gas station watched the fall of a man who thought he could judge someone by skin color. Boone turned to Marcus, posture softer. Mr. Tillery, I am deeply sorry. This will be handled. I promise. But Marcus only said, make sure it doesn't happen to the next man. Boone nodded slowly. I'll do everything I can. Roper, now slumped in a corner, looked up at Marcus with wet eyes. Why didn't you tell me who you were? He asked in a broken voice. Marcus knelt down, quiet, steady, and looked him right in the eyes. Because who I am shouldn't change how you treat me. Roper sobbed into his hands. Marcus stood again, tired but firm. He walked to Carter and placed a gentle hand on the boy's shoulder. Thank you for recording. That took courage. Carter swallowed hard. I didn't want them to hurt you for no reason. Marcus smiled softly. Sometimes, that's all it takes. One person not staying quiet. Before leaving, Marcus turned to the whole room. His voice was calm, strong, unforgettable. Respect should come before fear. And humanity should come before the badge. The gas station went silent. No one forgot that line. Not then. Not ever. Marcus stepped out into the night, coolant in hand, ready to fix his truck and keep driving. Not because he wanted to run, but because he refused to let one hateful night decide the rest of his life. If you enjoyed this story, hit subscribe and tell us in the comments. What would you have done if you were in Marcus's shoes that night?